Now we've got former UMass midfielder Jeff Trainor joining us. Jeff, everybody just saw your upset over #1 Yale from back in 2020. Still, it kills me because it came in the shortened season, so it almost feels like that season just doesn't exist, but still one of my favorite games that you guys have played. What stands out to you about that game and that day?
I mean, a lot of things stand out, but for one, that was the first time UMass had ever taken down a #1 team in the nation. So to be able to do that on Garber Field against an opponent like Yale, it was a very special victory for us.
I mean, you watch back in that game, like your first half. Did you guys play a better first half in your time there than what you guys did? You were up 11-2.
No, we didn't. That was the best half we'd ever played at UMass in my actually 5 years there. So yeah, tough to top that, but Yale ended up coming back and we held them off. So ended up holding them out there and got a big win there.
Well, what was it about that day and about that game where it just clicked for you guys?
Well, I mean, that 2020 group was special. Obviously, that season was cut short due to COVID, but we were a resilient group. We had a bunch of really good leaders, and our coaching staff believed in us. We believed in ourselves, and we just went out there and competed, gave it our all, and results. We didn't look at them. We just tried to play, and the results came.
You mentioned the mental stuff that goes into that, because as you guys, you jump all over the #1 team in the country, and you could tell you guys are amped up for that game because it's a big game, obviously, and it's on your home field. How do you kind of mentally, when you're going through it and you guys are riding high up by 9 goals at halftime, how do you mentally make sure that you stay locked in and stay in the moment to make sure you can finish the job and it's not just a first half that kind of gets forgotten about because you guys give up the lead?
Yeah, so that would come from our coaches, just making sure that we stayed cool, calm, and collected, stuck to the game plan. Actually, I can remember in that halftime knowing that we were going to get Yale's best punch, and knowing that we needed to weather the storm, and we held them off. So it was awesome, man.
I don't know if you remember it, but as rewatching the game, you were 2 men down at one point in the first quarter. And this is still early. I think you're only up a goal or two. You went 2 men down. You didn't give up a goal. I have to imagine that had to have been a bit of a momentum shift.
Absolutely. And credit to Coach Mack, now head coach at Robert Morris. Unbelievable guy, great coach, X's and O's wise, couldn't put us in better spots. So credit to him there.
We were talking with Coach Cannella to kick off this watch party about this. That 2020 team, you guys, you beat Yale, and the game we're talking about, so memorable. You then followed it up a couple of days later, a midweek game against Albany, and looked great and won that one. You ended up, I think, at that point in the top 20, and then all of a sudden the season just stops. Does part of you ever think back? I know a lot of you guys came back the next year, but it's never the same as how you guys felt there in 2020. Does part of you kind of think of what could have been with that 2020 group?
Oh, of course. It would have been a CAA title.
Yeah?
That's what I think.
What was it about? What was it about that group?
Again, we just had a really good group of leaders and a team that loved every single one of each other. So, when you have a bunch of guys that care for each other and play for one another, you form a special bond and you leave it out there on the field.
One of the other games we're showing throughout this is the 2018 CAA championship game. Obviously, a team that you were a part of. What was it like to hoist that trophy, not only as part of that team, but also doing it at Garber?
Probably the greatest memory that I've had at UMass. It was super special. To bring a CAA championship back, and like you said, winning on Garber, it meant everything, because the year before, we got game winner from half. We ended up playing Towson, losing that one, and then to come back and then hoist the trophy was unbelievable.
I have to imagine, you do that early on in your career, and it's almost it's hard because when you accomplish something, I think you were a sophomore at that point, you accomplished that. Now it's just the expectation is that's going to be every year, but that's really hard to follow up. What was that like?
Oh, you're exactly right. It is very challenging to follow that up. But, obviously, coach would always say, you guys messed up because now I know you can do it. So that next year, I mean, we just put our nose down, went to work. Unfortunately, we didn't get the same result, but nobody's going to hand you anything in Division I college lacrosse. So you got to go out there and earn it. And that's what Coach kind of brainwashed us to believe.
That 2020 championship, what's your favorite moment about afterward, the celebration? Because the great thing about winning it at home is there's no bus trip. You don't have to go back to campus. Like, you're just there. Everybody's there. What was that moment like?
Just being able to embrace that moment with all the alumni that came to support us. And, when that game wrapped up, just being together with all people that are in love with UMass Lacrosse, it was super special to enjoy that moment and be there with all those associated with UMass Lacrosse.
Throughout your career, do you have a favorite goal you scored at UMass?
Yeah, I do actually. I scored a goal against Hofstra when I was a sophomore, and it was like 10 seconds into the first game of the CAA playoffs, and I was like, that goal was awesome.
Now, that was just it? Like, was it like, what was it about that goal?
Just the way it all worked out. Lasoskas kind of cleared through. I took my guy, kind of rockered him, and then got one, and kind of got the boys going, and we ended up winning that game. So that was awesome.
There you go. It worked. Speaking of Hofstra, we're going to send people here to one of the, I think, great finishes in the history of the sport. The Dan Muller goal from half field that you guys upset Hofstra in the CAA semis in 2017. Take me through what you remember from that night, what you tell people about how things unfolded in that finish where you guys walk it off with a win.
Yeah, I mean, that was all kind of a blur, but I can vividly remember all three of my coaches screaming at Dan Muller to hold the ball, because I think there was a flag down and we would have started with the ball during overtime. And instead, he just heaves it from half and it goes. Like, you only see that in basketball, you don't really see that in lacrosse. So for that to happen and then for us to advance to the CAA championship, what an incredible memory. So really cool one.
Were you on the bench when that happened?
Yeah, I was on the sideline. Yep.
Because I rewatched it again, and when people see it, Dan Muller actually waves off Buddy Carr. He's like, yep. Hold up, no, I got this one. And I hadn't noticed that until I rewatched it, and it's like, wait, this guy's got confidence through the roof. He's just going to heave this thing.
Yeah, and if you knew Muller personally, you wouldn't be shocked that that's what he was saying. He was an absolute dog in that fifth year. So credit to him for carrying us there and bringing us to a title.
Yeah, hey, the confidence to shoot that thing, and it skips in, and the rest is history. And you guys had a chance to make a run to a CAA championship game appearance that year. Jeff, it was great catching up. We're going to send people to that game, let people watch it for themselves, how crazy that one was as it unfolded. But we appreciate the time. Thanks so much for being part of this watch party.
No, thank you. I appreciate it, Travis. Take care now.